Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 2 with group member me, Rossa Pesona Romadhona, Radzka Fairiz Shidqi, Lauza Alifia, Tiara Junita, and Deya Kurniasih Rahayu. Today we will present about acquisition of phonology and morphology. Okay, so I will explain about what is acquisition of phonology and morphology. So, language acquisition is the process by which learners develop language ability through exposure and use of the language rather than through explicit role learning about. And phonology acquisition refers to how learners develop the ability to recognize and produce the sound system of language, including pronunciation, stress, and intonation. In EFL context, this process is often influenced by the learner's first language because English has sound patterns that might be different from their native language. And morphology acquisition refers to how learners acquire the ability to understand and use word forms and grammatical markers such as plural endings, tenses markers, and affixes. This process develops gradually as learners are exposed to language in meaningful context. Okay, so the next lecture will be presented by Tiara Junita.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. And the next, I will explain about factors influencing the acquisition of phonology. The first is age of acquisition. Early exposure to a second language increases the likelihood of achieving native-like pronunciation due to greater neural plasticity. In contrast, late learners often retain a foreign accent because phonological categories become less flexible with age. And the second is first language or L1 phonological transfer. The phonological system of the first language strongly influences how learners perceive and produce sounds in the target language. Differences between L1 and L2 phonological systems often lead to persistent pronunciation errors. And the third is amount and quality of input. Frequent and meaningful exposure to the target language supports the development of more accurate phonological representations. Limited or low quality input can slow phonological development and reinforce non-target like pronunciation patterns. Okay, the next is perception ability. Accurate perception of L2 phonemic contrast is essential for accurate production of target language sounds. Learners who have difficulty discriminating similar sounds are likely to show persistent pronunciation problems. And next is for formal instruction and pronunciation training. Explicit pronunciation instruction can improve learners' phonological accuracy and overall intelligibility. However, instruction alone may not be sufficient to eliminate foreign accent completely. And next is corrective feedback. Corrective feedback help learners notice mismatches between their production and target-like forms. This noticing facilitates gradual restructuring of learners' phonological systems. And the last is social and affective factors. Learners' motivations, attitudes, and social identity influence the amount of effort that they invest in improving pronunciation. Positive attitudes toward the target language community are associated with better phonological outcomes. And that's all for me. And the next is Lauza, please.
Alright, Tiara, thank you for the opportunity. So here I will explain about the factors influencing morphology acquisition. There are 6 factors that influencing the morphology. The first is age of learners. Younger learners tend to acquire basic morphological forms more naturally, while older learners may rely more on explicit rules and instruction. And the second, there is first language or L1 influence. Learners use their first language as a references. Similar morphological patterns can help learning, while differences may cause errors. Third, input frequency and exposure. Morphological forms that learners hear from read frequently are more easily noticed and acquired. Fourth, cognitive development. Learners' cognitive maturity affects their ability to understand abstract morphological rules such as tense and agreement. Fifth, explicit instruction and feedback. Clear explanations and corrective feedback help learners use morphological forms more accurately. And last, motivation and effective pictures. Learners with high motivation and low anxiety are more willing to practice and apply morphological forms. Maybe that's all. The next slide will be delivered by Deya Kurniasih. Please.
Okay, thank you, Lauza, for the opportunity. Okay, on this slide, I will explain the phonological strategy used to improve phonological skill, particularly phonological awarenesses. In this study, phonological instruction was delivered explicitly, meaning that students were directly taught how sound work in language. Their training focused on phoneme discrimination, where students learned to identify whether two sounds were the same or different. In addition, students practiced phoneme blending, segmentation, and dilation and manipulation. For example, they learn how to combine an onset on a rhyme to form a syllable, or how to remove an initial sound from a word. These activities aim to strengthen student ability to present and manipulate speech sound accurately. This is important because phonological awareness is considered a core skill in reading development, and weaknesses in this area are commonly found in children with reading difficulties. Therefore, explicit phonological awareness instruction serve a foundational pedagogical strategy to support reading improvement. Okay, next slide, please. So in this slide focuses on how pedagogical skill are supported through orthography phonology mapping. One important pedagogical strategy used in this study is the use of pinyin as visual scaffolding. Pinyin helps students see the connection between sound and written form, making phoneme level tasks such as blending and segmentation easier to understand. Another key strategy is explicit instruction on phonetic radical. Students were taught that characters sharing the same phonetic radical may have similar or different pronunciations. They also learn to distinguish between regular, semi-regular, and irregular characters. By teaching phonetic radicals systematically, students can better understand how pronunciation relates to character structure. This strategy is especially important in Chinese, where phoneme and grapheme correspondence doesn't exist in the same way as in alphabetic languages. And that's all from me. The next material will be delivered by Radzka, please.
All right, thank you. So I'll discuss about pedagogical strategies to improve morphological skills according to Sen et al. 2025. So there are four strategies. The first one is homophone awareness training. So this strategy aims to improve students' morphological awareness of morphemes that have the same pronunciation but different meanings and written forms. In the training, students are introduced to a group of characters that sound the same, and the teacher explains the different meanings of each character. Students are then asked to write down other characters with the same pronunciation and create words using each characters. The strategy helps students understand that pronunciation alone isn't enough to identify meaning, and as a result, students learn to connect written forms with meanings more accurately. Second one is home graph awareness training. So the strategy focuses on helping students understand that one character can have different meanings depending on the context. During the training, students compare the same character used in different words, and the teacher explains how the meaning of the character changes in each context. And after that, students are asked to create new words or for each meaning. And this strategies develop students' sensitivity to semantic context and support vocabulary knowledge, which is important for reading comprehension and sentence reading fluency. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So the third one is compound word structures instruction. This strategy teaches students how compound words are formed from two or more morphemes and how these morphemes work together to create meaning. Students learn different types of compound word structures such as subject, predicate, verb object, modifier head, verb resultative, and parallel compounds. And after learning the rules, students practice creating new compound words based on these patterns. Through this instruction, students do not only memorize words, but also understand the internal structures of words, which helps improve their morphological analysis and vocabulary development. And the last one is semantic radical instruction. So this strategy emphasizes teaching the function of semantic radicals as meaning clues in Chinese characters. Teacher introduce groups of characters that share the same semantic radical and explain how the radical is related to the meaning of the character students of the characters. Students also learn about opaque characters whose meaning are directly related to their semantic radicals. This approach helps students use visual clues to guess the meaning of unfamiliar characters, strengthen their understanding of character structure, and improve the connection between written form and meaning. Yes, thank you. So I'll give back to Rossa.
Okay, so thank you for your explanation about this material. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.